Okay, this is part 2 of the following conversation of the COVID/police encounters, and continuing on to the next thing. So, okay, now you want to finish what you were saying?
What was it?
I don't know. I got to turn my phone to where it's not going off, because that's probably what the problem is. Go ahead. Go ahead. Continue.
Of course, when you start out being a black person, you like, I want to do something to help my community, which is okay. Ultimately, becoming a police officer. Okay, be nice.
That's my 5-year-old, which, like I said, we will be recording like everyday life, you know. And we're going to have interruptions as long as we got kids. What you want, Wiggy Wiggy?
She gone.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so the thing is, like, it's kind of like a mind fuck, because if you think about it, as an officer, you want to help your community because you grow up around people that commit crimes. Even what? Okay, tell duty to be nice. You think about, like, okay, I want to do something about this because it's, you know what I'm saying, this shit I grow up with, right?
But that's the problem, though. A lot of the officers are not from these communities.
They from their own community.
True.
So if they coming from a place that's worse than here, how are they gonna approach your community? Because you never know, like, where they come from. And I'm not saying, you know, you can't know not to treat somebody bad, or you don't know not to shoot a person that you could, you know, take a different route. But it's just like, basically in training, they telling them it's either you or them.
True.
And that's don't just go for white officers. It go for black officers too. But in the hood, it's the same fucking code. It's either you or them.
But see, I hear a lot of officers talk about that split second, and they didn't have the time to judge the situation. It was the split second they had to take action on. If they didn't take action, who knows what would happen. They could have lost their life. But that's my biggest issue with cops themselves, because we have people that have dedicated their life to the military and not even been a cop, have had to do things in that nature in a split second and was not afraid. But if you're supposed to protect the community, you always saying, I was afraid for my life. Why are you still allowed to protect that community if you're afraid?
I kind of have I understand what you're saying, but coming from a community that's like, fuck the police. You get what I'm saying? Because in the hood, in black communities, the police is the number one enemy.
I can agree.
Okay, so even with there being a black cop, Chinese cop, white cop, any kind of cop, that's the number one enemy. So black people, when you see another black person get pulled over, y'all heartbeat literally, it beats the fucking same within this big ass beat of fear. You like, damn, I wonder if they okay. You don't say that shit when you necessarily see a white person get pulled over. Not even if a white person got pulled over by a black cop.
But the thing is, when you say when those situations happen, I have seen way too many situations where the cop have pulled over a white person and they have went berserk.
Yeah, I watched a police officer get his ass mollywhopped.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? I remember the one we watched with the two officers trying to get that one dude, and he got away and got his car pulled off.
Nah, what about that one video when they was chasing him and that nigga was naked?
That's what I'm saying. Like, at this, like the dude who killed his neighbors and was running around naked with the knife. He literally should have been shot.
Yeah, in the chest.
Because he approached the police officers with a knife.
Now, I can say, I just the other day, remember the other morning I was telling you about that woman coming out her house with a knife. Like, she knew it was the police out there, and she came out there with a knife, and he He must have gave it to him. You know what I'm saying? I think, of course, you also got to blame the news, too, because they won't necessarily show you a lot of...
the details.
Yeah.
They only show you the 10-second clip of right up before the shot happened, and they pause it.
Yeah.
And that's another thing, though, but I feel like this. Everything that's happened, COVID, police brutality, defund the police, all of these things, you know, Republicans, Democrats, politics, politicians, you know, all of this stuff that's happening, they only show you a small amount, enough for you to be triggered.
Yeah.
So when you triggered, you like, I'm mad, you know, they gotta quit treating us like this, which I'm not saying that it's a lie. I'm saying you coming from an angry perspective. So it's going to upset you even more because you're not hearing or getting what you're mad about or saying that the demands that you want. Mm-hmm. So being triggered is not going to help the situation.
Yeah. And it's funny because when you really like put it in your imagination, you watch the news all morning, you go to the store, a white person bump into you, like, excuse me, you know what I'm saying? You like, motherfucker, what you say to me? The proper motherfucking thing I was supposed to say because I bumped into you.
But if you trigger, that don't even occur to you because you just mad at all white people because you black and everything that's happening to black people.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, like white people say, it's happening to us, which is not a lie.
No.
It is not a lie, but at the same time, it happens to black people more. And that's what black people are trying to get them to understand. Like, we're not saying that it doesn't happen to the white community or white people in white communities. What we're saying is 9 times out of 10, it happens to a black person, and 2 times out of 10, it happens to a Caucasian.
Mm-hmm. I think we don't realize, like, we are, and this is everybody, are so selfish that if I raise my hand and say I have a problem, it's this, and this, you're gonna have somebody that be like, nah, my problem is more important than yours.
That's true.
And everybody wanna say they have talk about their issues or get their shit addressed at one time. Ain't nobody being heard. It just sound like a whole bunch of bullshit everywhere. And it's not fair because the stuff with black people is fucked up. Like, and then I understand some people feel like, okay, well, this is more important, this is more important. Okay, in your world, you ain't telling no damn lie. But in my world, this shit is way more important because, honestly, black men are endangered species. Black women are endangered species, too. But, of course, a black man will feel like, nah, my life more important because they killing us way more than they killing y'all, which is true from a black man's perspective. But, of course, a woman's perspective is the same, too. Because motherfuckers go have babies and don't come. The baby will make it out for the woman, do. You know what I'm saying? And I had my experience in the hospital when, you know what I'm saying, I'm like, I'm hurting. This don't seem right. And nobody gave a fuck. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, it's just childbirth. No, this shit, I know it's supposed to hurt, but not like this. You know what I'm saying?
But I think what everybody in the black community right now looking for is equality, justice, and reparations. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that a lot of black people don't believe that we should get reparations. I am pro reparations, not because I want money and I need money. I feel like if the Jewish community got reparated for the Holocaust, then you got the Israels, which are also Jewish, but you know they got separate entities.
Sanctions.
They got reparations. Who else got reparations? Some of the Chinese or Korean or one of those entities got reparations for what happened. And the Indians, not all of them, but some of them got reparations, which is not for me a money thing. it's America righting this wrong.
Okay, let me stop. You said for not me, it's a money thing, right?
It's not about the money.
Okay, with that being said, as a black man, what does reparations look like to you?
The way America is right now, it would have to be money. And I knew you was going to feel that way. But, okay, let's go back and say, they said, we promised 40 acres in a mule.
But do you really
Do they have that land to give?
Do they got mules to give?
No, exactly. So, if they don't have the land and they don't have the mules, well, how would you compensate black people? I mean, that's just where I'm at with it. Because it's no other way to compensate black people except with finance.
Okay,
like they said, I heard one of the Democrats saying that we can do it with school. Okay, I'm 37 years old. My school is over with. Now, it's all about my children schooling. So, that won't benefit me if I'm not putting it to use.
But you have to put your mind frame in their mind frame. It's like, shit, I'm offering you this. You don't want to take it. That's your ass, Mr. Postman.
Right, but that's not fair. Listen to me. How you going to offer finances to one race of people, but not to the next?
True. But in the same sense, with you saying that, how are we asking to be treated right when that should be just human nature?
That's completely understandable. But human nature also go based upon how you was raised. So if you wasn't raised with common sense, you won't have common sense. If you wasn't raised to not be a racist, you gonna be a racist or not understand racism or even care about it.
Okay, with that being said, do you think a lot of white people are just racist or just uneducated?
I feel like it's a 50-50 thing.
Yeah.
I feel like some white people are or hadn't had to live around black people or really even deal with black people. So it's not that they are racist. They don't understand the struggle or, the treatment of black people because they didn't have to deal with it. Yeah. But then you have some people that actually say racist things and do racist things, and you say, look, man, hey,
that's racist.
That's racist. Why would you say that? And they're like, oh, well, I didn't say it. My black friend said it. Or, just some stupid shit like that. But just because you heard it don't give you the right to say it when you know for a fact when it was said it was racist.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But that's also an issue because you have some people that'll sit down and allow people to say racist things and keep it moving, keep like I was told on Facebook, I should have kept my head down and kept working and collecting my checks instead of trying to do right by people. That they won't say nothing about it, engage it, or nothing. But I feel like we live in a world. How do we live in a world where, different entities have more rights than a normal person? It's not even about color, because what if a white person went to HR and said, this black person said some racist stuff to me and I disagree with it, or what they said was racist and I don't like it. I asked them to stop and they continue to say it. That's just like saying, nigga. A lot of white people feel like that's racist, right? Mm-hmm. So what if they don't want you to say it around them? Even though you say you was grew up saying it, it's heavily in the community, in the rap game. That's all you hear. But now you in the professional world and you working, and this person that works with you, say it's your work partner, y'all work side to side, hand in hand, and you just get frustrated and say, damn, nigga. And you're like, wait, whoa, don't say that around me. As a person, a black person who have went through racism and treated in a negative way, I would understand where he coming from and be like, I apologize, I didn't mean to offend you. But we have to get it out of our mind that, we was called this so many years ago, so we should continue it. We should say it and be able to say it without no problem. But see, then you go on the internet and all you hear is little white kids saying it, and Mexicans and Latinos and other different ethnic groups saying the N-word. So now, what are you gonna do? Because are you gonna report them? Are you gonna, go to HR? Are you gonna fight them? Are you gonna, you know what I'm saying? And it becomes a point to where this is getting out of hand because we diminishing our legacy. Because somewhere along the way, we feel like, yeah, they saying this word is a hateful word, so let's flip it.
Okay, with you saying that though, what does the word nigga mean to you? Coming from a black person.
Coming from me, from my perspective, it's not that I don't know, because I have used it in plenty of different ways, in raps, in everyday lingo. What it means to me is more of, I didn't understand the significance of it hurting me more than it helped me.
Yeah.
I think that's what we don't understand. We grew up in poverty, so growing up in poverty, it's an everyday word.
Right.
It's just like waking up. It's you always gonna hear it. You're never not gonna hear it.
Yes.
So, not living in poverty, I'm like, okay, I don't hear it at all. I hear it in my music that I'm riding down the street playing.
Right.
Or I hear somebody else riding down the street playing. I don't see people on porches saying the N-word, you know what I'm saying? Or outside rapping the N-word. That's where I'm at with it. And it's difficult because, we can't get out of this stereotype of who we are as black people. If you don't say it, you ain't real. And I'm like, wait. That don't even make sense. So how you gonna tell me if I don't say the N-word, then I ain't real, but then turn around and get mad at another ethnic group saying the N-word and then saying it's racist?
Yeah.
Which I'm not saying it's not, because it is. But because it was made as a term to be negative. Mm-hmm. And I get that. Like, I completely get that. Like, I'm not against.
What? I don't understand. Yes.
You gonna play Old Town Road? Okay, you can play Old Town Road in your room, okay? Okay, now, go ahead. Back to you, because we can interrupt. So back to you.
I think, like, okay, remember when...
Wax paper.
Huh?
Wax paper.
Oh. What you did with... I remember when you couldn't... Like, I remember, like, small people were midgets.
Right.
And then it turned into a thing where they was like, no, you can't say that shit.
Right.
And it was offensive as hell. And then we call them little people, right?
To my knowledge, I'm really not sure about that, but I believe it.
Okay, so with that being said, if it was that important to other people, something would have been done about it.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? We got bootylicious as something in the dictionary and twerk in the dictionary, but nobody got the authorization to take nigga out the dictionary. But when you look it up, it describes your whole being, your whole existence. You get what I'm saying? And the thing is, it's like, if we took the word nigga out of the dictionary or out of the black community, would niggas know who the fuck they is? You know what I'm saying? Because everybody got their own description of nigga. You know what I'm saying? Because some people use it as a word of endearment. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my nigga right there. You get
True.
what I'm saying? If we took it out the black community, like, would niggas know how to identify themselves? You know what I'm saying?
No, I completely understand.
And that's what's fucked up, because number one, all in all, we don't know who the fuck we is besides some negative shit. It hurt my feelings one day. I was talking to Lucy, and she was like, Mom, I gotta tell you something. I'm like, what? And she was like, I looked up. She was like, I was feeling something out for her at school or something. I was doing. Anyway, and I marked Black African American, right? And I guess it just came upon her to look up. Yeah, when I was trying to take the wax out, it came upon her to like look up the definition of black. You know what I'm saying? And she was like, it said evil, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of fucked her head up because, number one, I had to check this box to say this is what she is. And then she get home and look at motherfucking Webster. And ain't this Webster dictionary or whatever?
Yes.
And it say evil. One of the, meanings is evil, bad. And she was like, I'm not bad. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But what kind of mind fuck is that for a child to be like, let me see what the fuck this, let me see
what this means.
Yeah. And then here you go, this in the dictionary, this is a book. It say what I am. So when kids come to that realization that I'm black, I'm bad, I'm evil,
Misty.
then one of these.
Yeah.
I'm black, I'm bad, I'm evil.
Nah, give me one of the loans because I need to put. No, because I would have to pull the anchor off.
And she just like, this is sad. And it is sad because how do you be like, do you tell your child, just ignore this shit? Nah, because it's validated in the dictionary.
True.
And it's sad. It's really, really sad that we have to like be like, nah, you ain't evil, but I got to check this box to describe what you is. You know what I'm saying? That's some fucked up shit. That's some fucked up shit.
No, I get it.
And it's just like, damn, we don't realize our kids have shit done on our kids.
But see, that's why I believe in not lying to my child about what's going on in the world. A lot of people feel like, if your child not a teenager, then you shouldn't tell them what's going on because they wouldn't understand. But I feel like that's the misinformation they've been given for years, that we wouldn't understand. I think we got to get out of that way of saying we wouldn't understand to listen, this is something that you need to understand. Because we also send our kids out into the world when they go to school. It might be a controlled environment, but
it's a little world.
It's a little world. You see what I'm saying? It's a smaller world outside of the bigger world. Mm-hmm. So they go through things that they may not tell us or they see or hear.
Because you went through shit you didn't tell your mama.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah. And it's important as fuck to them because it was important as fuck to you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I don't know. It's messed up because it's like, man, do I just hide my kid away until it's time to become an adult, and then a stick
for the stem.
Oh, do I just hide my kid away until it's time and for them to become an adult, but then they don't have the shit they need as human interaction? That's the messed up part. Because you want to keep them from the bullshit. You want to keep them from hurtfulness. But how do you do that? And then you also dealing with the hurtfulness that's going on in the world today. Did you tie it at the bottom?
No, I didn't tie it. I want to see what it do. Oh, well, you can tie it at the bottom.
It's kind of sad if you think about it.
It's definitely difficult because you want to teach your kids everything that you can as fast as you can because the world progresses so fast. But it's like every time you teach one thing, here goes several more things that they haven't learned yet.
Yeah. You know what I think we had discussed it about when somebody had commented on Meg Thee Stallion and Cardi B being role models for their kids. And it's just like, why the fuck they listening to that to the point where they being labeled by you as a fucking role model for your child? You know what I'm saying?
Why would you want that to be? I mean, I'm not saying that they're not successful.
I don't think it's the celebrities.
I'm not saying that they're not successful women. You know, and the thing is, black people got to get out of labeling people of what they not. Because first of all, Cardi B is not black. She has told people this, and no, people not accepting it. But also, why wouldn't you want the message that Meg Thee Stallion give to be a role model to your daughter if you don't want your daughter to be that type of person? But they say, oh, it's music. But music influenced us just like music influenced you, and music has been an influence on my life.
Yeah.
So we can't say that music don't do nothing to us, because it actually have a big influence on who we are as a person.
Yeah.
So just think about, why would you want your child to be like Meg Thee Stallion? I'm not saying she's a bad person. She's a good business person. But all her content is really for adults.
Yeah.
And I think we have to get out of that and forcing kids to view adult content. Mm-hmm. And then expecting them not to try to act like an adult.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Cause I think, you know what, this dawned on me one time too, that just pour a little bit first.
I gotta pour it above the paper.
I think people are so quick to say, you know, you should be a role model, or you a role model for my kid. Like, why the fuck would you give somebody that much authority over your kid? You know what I'm saying? Even if it's for entertainment purposes for you, don't you think you got some splaining to do to your kid? You see what I'm saying? Like, I know I listen to just on a regular basis, like drug dealer shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really do. Yeah, that's just that. And now I know if my child be like, what is birds and shit? I'm gonna have to eventually break it down to the point where, like, you know, this is that, this is this. Now, if that's not something you want to explain, why would your child be exposed to it? I'm not saying you want to explain that this is drug dealer music, but if you listening to it, they gonna be used to that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, they gonna eventually ask questions. But I think black people don't want to accept the responsibility that they are their child's first role model. That's why black people get so mad at their kids. It's not cause they act like another motherfucker. It's cause they act exactly like them.
Right.
So you get mad at your child for saying some old fucked up shit, like they be around you most of the goddamn day. And I mean, now in the age of COVID, it's just like, hey, you know what I'm saying? How you gonna get mad at your daughter for sneaking and making a social media page and twerking and shit, and you beating her ass? But this is what she's saying you do when you sweep.
Exactly.
Or you wash dishes.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
like,
the norm. And that's what I think, as coming from a black family and being in a predominant black neighborhood, it's normalized to be promiscuous, and how these women are on these videos and on TV. It's right there in our face, and it's a normal thing. Like when Nicki Minaj hit, everybody was doing the pink hair, the pink this, the pink that. Beyonce hit, everybody beehive, the bee this.
Whoa, now, god damn it.
And I understand you like Beyonce, but for a lot of videos that you feel like is inappropriate for our children, you won't allow them to watch it.
Yeah.
But see, you don't have a lot of mothers or fathers, because it is fathers out here that allow their kids to watch whatever come on the TV. So you don't have a lot of black parents stopping it. They actually, hey, turn that up. Mm-hmm. When I'm more like, turn that off.
Yeah,
we're not gonna do that. Yeah. Not in this house. But that's because I learned at a young age, you know, a lot of stuff that I seen I wasn't supposed to see, that I was allowed to see.
Which led you to some shit.
Which led me down the road. of being a young adult when I was a teenager. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I can't necessarily blame that on my mama because I was raised in a single household with my mama working 2 jobs.
Yeah.
And I feel like we don't even give our parents that credit, especially when you coming from a single household. You know, we so quick to talk about the
struggle,
badness, or how that you feel like your parent wasn't a good parent to you. But I thought about this, you know, over the past 2 years. I'm like, despite how I feel about my mama, I remember for a long time my mama worked 2 jobs. And she was never at home because she had to work 2 jobs to take care of us. Because, of course, you know, Daddy was still in prison doing his thing.
Yeah.
Doing what he wanted to do. So, why would I be so frustrated and angry at her when she did what she could with what she had?
Hell yeah.
I think we get caught up on the small things. We don't see the bigger picture. We see that she got home and yelled at me. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't necessarily seeing that, yes, she want me to be quiet because she's tired. She just worked 2 jobs. And this is the only time she'll be able to get some rest. I'm sitting here trying to play the video game up loud. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like we don't give our parents that credit.
Hell no. No, you can party by yourself with your sisters. It's enough for y'all for it to be a whole party. I think, yeah, that's true. Because I know I had much resentment towards my mama. Because I'm like, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, when you think about it, having 3 kids and she had to support the household, you know what I'm saying? We know my daddy, you know what I'm saying? And she gave it all she could. You know what I'm saying? Honestly. Hell yeah, I feel like with she could have hugged me when I was crying. But she was unraveling her damn self. She was trying to keep herself together enough not to unravel in front of 3 children. Because that's the strongest person in the household at this point. And if we see her unraveling, here we go. You know what I'm saying? It's a straight up rodeo.
Exactly.
Of emotions. So yes, we don't give. We yes, and think about this too. You really don't. You don't know the shit your mama necessarily like really went through. Like, we know that our grandmamas is different when we came into the world. Like, my grandmama ain't the same grandmama she was to my mama now.
Right. Just like I feel like my Granny Thurman wasn't the same grandmama she was to me as she was the mother to her.
Cause you hear them ass whooping stories.
Exactly.
And that sound like some straight up
lie. It sounds like a lie because I never went through that with my Granny Thurman. She never whooped me.
He be like, don't you lie on that nice lady like
Exactly.
Don't you dare tell no tales on that nice woman. Yeah.
Exactly.
But Granny probably was a beast when it came to a switch. Thread them together.
Exactly. When it comes to her kids.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I kind of came to understand that because, you know, for a lot of the times, the legacy ain't the same because the parents change from parents to grandparents.
They grow more patience over the years. And they grow more understanding over the years.
That's true.
I know when me and my grandmama always had like this close ass relationship. We always just had it. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all still do.
We still do.
Y'all still do.
And the thing is, like, everybody know. Like, I told grandmama when I was like 12, when I first started like getting suspended from school and shit. And grandmama called me like, I done lied to my mama, lied to the principal. They like, did you hit that girl in the face? Now, I done hit this damn girl in the face with a soccer ball, bust the nose and everything. My mama knew to get the truth out of me, she had to call my grandmama. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, nah, this girl, she done clocked me in the bathroom. I done locked this girl in the bathroom, done motherfucking fapped her face up with a soccer ball. You know, them motherfuckers used to be hard.
Yeah.
my mama called my grandmama. I'm like, how could you betray me like this? Like, she actually, you know the bud we got. Why would you do this to me? You know what I'm saying? But I understood. And it's just like, my mama didn't have that with my grandmama. Mm-hmm. And that shit is fucked up because I'm like, how could you not get along with this lady? She's so nice. But indeed, she was a different Becky. You know what I'm saying? Way back when. Because my uncle used to tell this story about when she tried to hit him with a broom or a banana or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, who uses a banana as a weapon? You know? So, it's just like, and you know, of course, he was your height at 16. You know what I'm saying?
Who, so Jimmy?
My uncle Wayne.
Your Uncle Wayne. Oh, your mama. Okay.
My grandmama tried to hit Uncle Wayne.
Uncle Wayne with banana.
She 14. You know.
You hear me say? Yeah. Wacky with this banana.
But it's just like your grandparents is not the same motherfuckers they was when your mama and them was kids. Because think about this. Your niece fucking adore you, right? She can't do no wrong in your eyes.
That's
right?
True. That's true.
So Dion is like that with his nieces.
That's true.
So, but you not the parent you is to fats
that I am to
that you is to your kids.
That's definitely
That's
true.
how come you had that, like how Duty is with Auntie Sugar.
Yeah.
That Auntie Sugar can get anything out of that Lou. You hear me?
I'm telling you.
Because she is not the Auntie Sugar. I remember one time I told Lou I seen her whoop the girls one time at the same time. That child looked at me like, you motherfucking lying on that nice woman. You know what I'm saying? How dare ye lie on my auntie like this?
Right.
But Auntie Sugar is not Mama Sugar.
To her. Right. But I tried to explain that to her, and I'm like, what you don't realize is Bubbles gets in trouble. She gets punished and whooped. You know, I know you don't see your Auntie Sugar in that light.
It's like, you don't know. You don't know.
Like, no, that's not true. That's not true.
Know,
yes, it is.
You don't know the OG. I know. You know
exactly.
what I'm saying? Rocking back and forth. You don't know the person I used to know.
Up there finna shade mister. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like, damn, do you, I mean, but it's necessary to have that balance, though, because, like I said, if I ever get motherfucking in jail for murder and they just questioning me, y'all better not bring Mary up there to the jail.
You gonna tell it all.
I'ma tell it.
You gonna Tekashi 6ix9ine it all.
I'ma tell it, yes, I chopped the body up. The body is such, because that's one person I can't deny the truth to. You know what I'm saying? And I promise you that'll just end me, because just to look and my grandmama with that
face.
Yeah.
That face. That you really do with face. And you like, yeah, I really did.
Swear. I told grandmama, if you ever betray me like that, we're not gonna be cool anymore. Like, I'm gonna have to sit. I was like, grandmama, don't put me in jail for the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying? Don't come down there. I don't give a damn what nobody say. Don't you come down there to that jailhouse, because I'm gonna tell on myself. And just talking to you. You know what I'm saying? And that's I mean, I don't know. I hate it because you necessarily want that love to be there through the generations, because my grandmama wasn't who she was to my mama, which my grandmama to me is who my mama needed when she was a kid. You get what I'm saying? So that kind of, it's like a, you know how they be talking, oh, we skip generations. You know, that shit don't need to be skipped. That shit need to just be prolonged. But who she was and what she went through brought her to who she was and what she went through then as a mom.
But see, that's my whole point. You know,
Tell Lou.
We grew up in bad, or not necessarily bad circumstances, but not the best circumstances. Mm-hmm. And we always perpetuate how the negative stuff was instead of the positive stuff.
Yeah. What? Tell Duty to come here.
Tell her I said yes. So we always look at the positive stuff, the negative stuff, and constantly repeat that. We don't sit back and think about the struggles or the sacrifices that...
What she want? Give them to her.
She said, okay. But we never think about the struggles that our parents went through and give them credit for that. You know, that's like one time I talked to Mama recently and I'm like, I do appreciate that you made a lot of sacrifices for me and Sugar because, you know, I always go on the negative stuff and never give you credit for the positive stuff. And she said thank you, hugged me, you know, gave me a kiss, you know. But it's like we was taught or we learned, not necessarily even if our parents taught it, but we learned it from videos or we learned it from, because, you know, in our era, we watched a whole bunch of videos, Yo MTV Rap, in the basement. You know, we had all of this going on TV. So we learned to look at the negative aspect of life and to keep saying these things to one another instead of looking at the positive outcome.
You know what I came to a realization about just thinking about like my childhood and shit. Like that shit wasn't that bad. You know what I'm saying? Like it really wasn't. Yeah, I could have used more hugs and shit. True enough. And more of a father figure. My father in my life. But the thing is, like you don't as an adult, you do not recall all that bad shit you did. Like as a kid, like you looking at your kids now, you like, why the fuck you do this shit? Do you know the parent that was in our house was like, why the fuck you do that shit?
I'm telling you, I did stuff that made Mama pull out her hair. I know I did. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. Like, we sit here and we be like, how my mama this, how my mama that. We ain't thinking about the stuff that we done to make them so frustrated where they pulling their hair out. And I sit back and I look and I was like, man, in school, I stayed in so much stuff. Yep. I stayed, man, look here. Mookie Lot, wherever you are, if you listening, you can attest to the truth that I stayed in your office more than anything. Your office was like my classroom. Like, I would get to school and come straight from breakfast and go to his office because by the time I get to class, I done said something or done something to get in trouble. Yep. And I never stopped to think about, you know, I didn't make this decision. My mama didn't make this decision for me. I made this decision.
And you thought your mama was the coldest motherfucker when they called your mama and they was like, well, we finna have to paddle on you. Like, do what you gotta do. You know what I'm saying? Like
she don't love me anymore.